The authorities in Washington are working around the clock to recover the bodies of those who died in the mid-air collision. And the investigation is still in its early stages, but the tragedy is already embroiled in a political controversy. After the American President Donald Trump addressed a press conference, and these are excerpts from a question and answer session in the media as to why Trump's comments have kicked up a storm.
Mr. President, you have today blamed the diversity elements, but then told us that you weren't sure that the controllers made any mistake. You then said perhaps the helicopter pilots were the ones who made the mistake.
It's all under investigation.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. That nobody's...
Now, Donald Trump in his lengthy address blamed the tragedy on hiring the Under Diversity and Inclusion program. To remind our viewers, the investigation, remember, is still underway. There's no conclusion that has been reached yet, but the American president has put the blame on the DEI program and the Biden administration for an air crash that took place 2 days ago. Now, Trump's claims are currently still unsubstantiated, but exercising his presidential power and furthering his agenda, the Republican leader has now signed an aviation order, rolling back the federal diversity initiatives. So as Trump signed the order, this is how he also answered a journalist's question on the question of diversity hiring.
Mr. President, to be clear, are you saying race or gender played a role in this tragedy?
It may have, I don't know. Incompetence might have played a role. We'll let you know that. But we want the most competent people. We don't care what race they are. We want the most competent people, especially in those positions. And you're talking about extremely complex things. And if they don't have a great brain, a great power of the brain, they're not going to be very good at what they do, and bad things will happen.
So as families and Americans mourn the tragedy, the Democrats have criticized the president for making claims at this moment still without any evidence and targeting certain communities based on gender and race.
Thing for internet pundits to spew off conspiracy theories. It's another for the President of the United States to throw out idle speculation as bodies are still being recovered and families still being notified. It just turns your stomach.
Now, since assuming office, Trump and his administration has launched a scathing attack against the federal diversity hiring programs. On his first day, the president signed an executive order cancelling the DEI programs for all federal jobs and pressurizing the private sector to follow suit. The critics have slammed this move, saying that it further gives rise to systemic racism. But Trump remains pretty steadfast on his pitch of merit and competence.